Hey Yorba Linda, we're over halfway through the year already, and there's been a lot of things happening throughout our city in the beginning half, and there's a lot of things coming up in the second half as well, which is why I thought it was a great time to sit down with our mayor, Janice Lim, and go over everything that's been happening in Yorba Linda. So first, we're going to get to know her a little bit more, and then we're going to be going over a bunch of different topics like the Measure JJ and KK that passed last year and how that's impacting Yorba Linda. We're going to talk about fire prevention efforts that are happening throughout the city, as well as a hot topic, which is fire insurance. Definitely in Yorba Linda is something that everybody is concerned with. And then finally, we're going to wrap up at the very end with probably the most controversial topic and the thing that I see in Yorba Linda buzz almost weekly at this point, e-bikes. There's been some new ordinance passed, so we're going to go over that, what that means for residents, and what they should be looking out for. So if you want to get a better understanding of what's happening in our city, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, everybody, so today I have a special guest here. We have the mayor of Yorba Linda, Janice Lim. So thank you for joining me today, and I can't wait to dive into this conversation. For one, let Yorba Linda get to know you a little bit better, as well as to give the city an update, what's going on, things to look at as we head through the rest of the year. So let's go ahead and start with a little bit about you, because the community always likes to know a little bit more personal things about the mayor in terms of what did you do before you became mayor of Yorba Linda.
Wow, that's amazing. And first of all, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
This is such a great honor to be here. I know you've been doing a lot of work in our city yourself, so I appreciate this time.
Yes, it's been great.
I love it. I am a USC graduate. I graduated with 2 degrees. I graduated with an architecture degree and a business finance degree. And I was the first one in USC's history to have done that simultaneously.
Okay.
So that was something that I'm really, really proud of, because I worked really hard at it. I worked 3 jobs, so I know what it means to work hard and to pay off those student loans. And also I worked at the same time. I worked for a fragrance company, so I was a fragrance model for many years.
Okay.
And they hired me at the same time. And straight after graduation, USC Business School wanted to hire me for their program.
Okay.
So I actually taught at USC for 3 years.
Oh, okay.
And I also was trying to get my MBA. But at that point, I wanted to go out there and spread my wings and to see what's out there. So I started working for companies like real estate companies like Charles Dunn, Tullian Company, Trauma Crow, a lot of JP Morgan accounts that I had here on the West Coast were all me. We also did a lot of land acquisitions, as you know, Shea Homes, Shea Properties was a big part of Yorba Linda here.
Yeah.
And so I was hands-on, I was a big part of that. And so Black Gold was a big development project that we worked on. So I've always been involved in Yorba Linda and in learning about a lot of the development aspect, the land use aspect of Yorba Linda. And it is the land of gracious living.
There you go. So when you started teaching, what were you teaching at USC?
So real estate principles, acquisitions, investment properties. So I was in the business school, the finance side of it, and I co-ran the program that did the economic development for land use and investment.
Okay, so you had your hands in a little bit of everything, it sounds
I did.
like.
I loved it, every bit of it, yes.
Okay.
And then I wanted to have kids. And my husband and I, we've been married for 29 years now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we wanted to have kids, and so we were a little bit late at the start, but we started having children, and I decided that it's best to stay at home with them. So that was my second career, if you want to call it, because it is
probably the hardest career.
Thank you. You know, being a stay-at-home mom, as they call it, is the hardest career.
It really is.
Trying to get them to eat their macaroni.
Any
right.
Food,
the cheese. It was really difficult. It was like, But anyways, it was such a great blessing to be able to do that, to stay at home. I volunteer. Like I do in everything. I put 110% behind it. I became like PTA mom, and I started moving the needle on adding like technology into the schools. Back then, about 20 years ago, it was really unheard of to have iPads or computers. So I brought 48 Apple computers to a school in Pomona Unified School District.
Okay.
And then I started their science program there. So I started building science rooms for them, because I know science, technology, STEM technology was much needed, especially 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Seeing now, it's like, yeah, I'm glad that we were able to do that.
Commonplace now, but
Right,
not back
yeah,
then.
yeah.
Okay.
So I was able to do a lot of different things as a volunteer. A lot of local legislators noticed that, and they kind of took me under the wings and helped me out a lot. And so when I moved here in Yorba Linda about 13 years ago, again, I was already here because of Shea Homes and Shea Properties. We had a lot of development here. When I moved here, it was almost natural that I got involved in things like I was Parks and Recreation Commissioner for 6 years prior to being on City Council. So that's how I got to know the city and bring good things to our city, programs to our city, a lot of dollars to our city. So yeah, so it just almost seemed natural. Yeah.
So when you did Parks and Rec, what was your favorite part of that job? Because you did that for 6 years, so that's a pretty long span.
Well, yeah. The highlight is where we're sitting on right now. So the library and the Art Cultural Center that we have in Yorba Linda is our prize buildings here. Everything about this building was intentional, you know, especially the library. If you even sit on some of our chairs on the outside open space rooms, each chair was made specifically and organically for that space. So meaning that you can't buy it in a catalog anywhere. It was handmade. And even in our sidewalls, our facade here, we have all these stonework. Each one was cut out of a quarry in Arizona and was placed here and specifically placed there for a reason. So it was very intentional, these two buildings, and it was just the reason why they're award-winning and prize-winning. I love it.
Yeah, it's one of the highlights of Yorba Linda. And I was telling you off camera that we had friends come here that used to live in Yorba Linda, saw this place, and didn't even recognize Yorba Linda anymore because of how beautiful this building was on here. So definitely a great addition to the city. I'm sure with some engineering background, it was fun to be involved in this as well.
Oh, absolutely. We have the one who really carried the ball was Jeff Ruth from our Parks and Recreation Department. And, you know, we always have this one thing that we say in construction is lien-free, on time and on budget, and he totally did that. And during COVID, which materials were very scarce, and labor was also very hard to get to. So, but he did it, and so just like Adventure Playground. So nearly at the same time, Adventure Playground was brought up. If you want to know who's responsible for putting the water elements in there, was me and a few other people on City Council that really pushed for that water element to be a part of Venture Playground.
Well, my kids thank you for that. We go there all the time. That's one of their favorite places to go in the city. So that's definitely a great decision.
Yes, and we opened it up to the public too.
Yep, and it's a great place to go. Like I said, I spend countless weekends there. The kids sit there for hours, have fun. So I'm glad we have that in the city as well.
Right.
Okay, so we get to know a little bit about you, how you became mayor. Now let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Yorba Linda. So we're a little bit past the half of the year point on here. So can we reflect back a little bit over the first half of the year? What are some of the things that have happened in Yorba Linda that you may be proudest of, or that you wanted to really highlight for the residents that maybe are not aware of what's been happening over the last couple months here?
Well, one of the major thing that happened here in Yorba Linda, which was nothing short of a miracle and a lot of hard work, was the passing of Measure JJ. That was a housing element. That was something that the state had mandated our cities, all of our cities, to take on a certain number of units here, RENA count as they're called. And we are so blessed to have city council members who are dedicated and who worked hard on this. I remember at one point I turned to my council members, I told them, I go, because I'm a numbers girl, so I said, you have to be hitting at least 10 to 15 new people every day to letting them know what Measure JJ is and what details. And if we don't pass it, what it means that the state will take full control of your local ordinances. So meaning that they could build as high as they want, they could build where they want. And with the passing of SB 9 and SB 10, you know, we can know that's a problem because they'll build right into your neighborhood. So you might have a neighbor with a single family home. Well, guess what now? SB 9 could split that lot in half, and then could build two different, at least up to 6 different units on
Yeah.
each side. So you don't want that next as your next door neighbor.
Yep.
And it was just trying to tell people, just to educate them and to engage them. And that was the reason why, and Frank Stefanos from Stefanos,
Yep.
he would tell you this because he interviewed me. He's like, why do you want to be mayor?
Yep.
Or why do you want to be on city council? And
Yeah.
I told him, it's because I want to engage our community again. I want them to know what's going on and give them good information and
Yeah.
get them, someone that they could trust to deliver that to them. Because I'm always one that would always tell you the truth, even though I know that you're not going to like me for it. But I always
Yeah.
do that. I don't placate to the idea of, I need your vote one day. I don't. I
Yeah.
would tell you the truth because I think it's really harmful when people don't tell other people the truth.
Yep.
And we saw that with Measure KK.
Yes.
And we saw a developer that came in who started passing out flyers who were erroneously, intentionally or unintentionally,
Yeah.
was trying to tell people a very different story.
Yep.
And but we beat them, and I
Yeah.
think that was a big.
By a significant margin, I believe.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, 82%
Yep.
a no on KK, and 92 plus. I think it's 92 or 93%
yeah.
that we pass on Measure JJ, which we're getting an award for, by the
Okay.
way, because it's all about community engagement. It's
Yeah.
all about getting out in front of the people, telling them the truth, telling them good information, making sure they understand what they're voting for.
Yep.
So that happened the first half, and so
Okay.
we're still getting a lot of accolades for that,
Okay.
and rightfully so. We worked hard. I mean,
Yeah.
I was on everyone's front yard, backyard, side yard, your cul-de-sac, and I was at all your
Yep.
all your
Every
events,
meetings,
yeah,
yep.
your trunk-or-treating events, telling people about Measure JJ
Yeah.
and what it all entails. And I think it has a lot to do with that, is that one-on-one
Yep.
conversation. When it gets to the dais, like when you come to our city council meeting, it's a monologue, right?
Yeah.
So you have your concerns, and we don't say anything because we don't respond until the very end if we choose to respond.
Mm-hmm.
But it's by the time that it comes to our time to speak and to respond back, most of the time people leave the city council meeting, so they don't get that dialogue. But
Yeah.
what I love about being in your living rooms and being at your birthday parties and being at at 4th of July celebrations with
Yeah.
you is I can have that one-on-one conversation, and then you can understand where I'm coming from or where the city's coming from.
Yeah.
So it's really important.
Okay. Yeah, and there was definitely a lot of misinformation out there, as there always is during elections, because people have different objections on there. But it was nice to see everybody kind of come together and really get the truth out about these things so people understand what they're voting for. So I think that was definitely important and a great thing for the city in general for the upcoming years to have that done correctly, so that there's not fines, so we don't have to worry about builder's remedy coming in, like we talked about as well, that they can build whatever they want at that point and we have no control over it. I think ultimately it was the right decision for the city.
Yeah, and the city had been fighting for it, and that was the misnomer. People were thinking, well, the city's just lying down and not, we've been fighting this. Even before I got on city council, and you'll see if you just search on the website, you'll see my letters going to the state saying like, hey, I'm questioning your methodology on this, you know, how are you coming up with this? And so, that's really important to know, because a lot of times people think that when you're on city council, you're just, going through the motions. I know there's a lot of hard work. I think I at least spent 4 trips in Sacramento fighting this, and I know our own Peggy Wong, our council member Peggy Wong, she's our housing queen. I mean, she is amazing. I sat at one of the conferences last year, and they were talking about Long Beach getting all these ADUs, and and I think Gavin Newsom was in that meeting on Zoom at that time, and they're all praising Long Beach and for the efforts of getting these ADU credits. And I turned to a council member next to me from a different city, and I said, how many 80 units did they get? Like, I was thinking, man, they must have hit the jackpot. And I think they said somewhere around 200.
Okay.
And just to give you an idea
for
how much
Long Beach,
we got in Yorba Linda because of the hard work of Peggy Wong, we got 400.
Yeah.
We got 400.
Yep.
And so I just sat there quietly and just really thanking God for people like Peggy Wong and for Tara Campbell, for Beth Haney, I miss her so much.
Yep.
But just for people like that who really fought hard and
Yep.
really seek out the best interest for our city.
Okay. So other than that, is there anything else in terms of the first half of the year that you want to kind of highlight or talk about that's happened in Yorba Linda that either you want residents to know about or something that they might not know about that you want to kind of bring up on there?
Well, it's not very
sure
sexy,
okay.
but I just have to say this. We have the best paved roads
Yeah.
in all of, I want to say all of California, but I might
Yeah.
be exaggerating there, but we do have the best paved roads in Orange County.
Yeah.
And that has a lot to do with us saving money to making sure that every 7 years we have a great paving program.
Okay.
And so that's something that's a little sacred here in Yorba Linda. I mean, you don't see what happens behind closed doors, but
Yep.
I am not going to cut into my streets. I
Yep.
am not going to, accept anything less than perfection when it comes
Yeah.
to our streets and the maintenance of it. So that's something that we did get an award for it,
Yeah.
but again, like I said, it doesn't get all the highlights in the
Yeah.
future. We did expand the Baston Cherry Road, right?
Yep.
And beautification, we got some awards for that. We're gonna get some more awards for OC Loop.
Yep.
What's happening there on the El Contron Trail.
Okay.
Yeah, those are amazing things that our Public Works Department's doing right now. We are looking really good in the next few months too.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, we're trying to get secured dollars right now. So we're going out there. I'm out there too, looking for dollars to get some more good money. So that way we're able to expand our streets and to improve our streets and. Yeah, so those are some type of things that Public Works is working on. And again,
Got
it's
it.
not something
Yeah.
not like a beautiful building
Well,
like
yeah.
this that we could really sing our praises over day, but really our streets are something that we should be proud of.
Yeah, it's absolutely noticeable too. And it's a funny story is about a week ago, I'm traveling through a bunch of different cities with real estate. And it was something that I just kind of thought of when I was driving down the road. I'm like, there's so many potholes here. Everything is bumpy.
Yes.
And I just kind of sat back and I appreciated our streets in Yorba Linda where you just don't have that. If there's a pothole, it gets filled quickly. All the streets almost look like they've been redone recently because of this program we have.
Yeah.
It's something that really does make a difference on a day-to-day when you're in Yorba Linda that you might not even realize until you travel outside the city somewhere else and realize what a luxury it is to have those type of streets here. Yeah. Okay, so we talked about a little bit the first half of the year. So let's transition into what's happening in Yorba Linda over the last half of the year. So is there anything exciting coming up or the community should know about that is going over these next couple months as we finish out the year?
Well, right now we're at our Shop, Dine, and Support Yorba Linda, and that is so important. A lot of people don't realize how important it is to shop in Yorba Linda.
Yep.
Because a sale percentage goes back to our general fund, which means that those are the programs that we want.
Yeah.
The 4th of July spectacular. I mean, how wonderful is that?
Yep.
And if someone tells me about the drones, I'm going to shoot them because we are not going to have drones, right?
Actual
It's gonna
fireworks,
be,
yeah.
Yeah, fireworks.
Okay.
So we pride ourselves in programs like that.
Okay.
We have concerts in the park that just ended.
Yep.
We get about 2,000 plus people that come to our events every single time. It's a great partnership that we have with different agencies that sponsors it. But it's all about Shop, Dine, and Support Yorba Linda, because if we don't do that, we don't attract other businesses here that we may want. Like right now I'm pursuing 85 Degrees. It's a Taiwanese bakery.
Yep.
And I really want them. They want to be here. We just have to find the space to be here. But in order to attract those sort of tenants, or businesses, we need to also show and prove to them that we have a people that will spend money in their own city. So those are the type of things that we're working hard at. And it's also the program we just kicked off, the Shop, Dine, and Support Yorba Linda campaign. As you see on our streets, you'll see the banners that are up right now. Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah, I can't really emphasize enough how important that is too. So that's a majority of what this channel is about, is to highlight local businesses, get people aware of the so many different variety of businesses that are inside Yorba Linda that they probably drive past on a daily basis and don't even realize they're there. So it's nice to be able to, if you have those 2 or 3 favorite spots that you go to eat dinner, try someplace new one time.
Yeah.
There are so many places to eat here that are delicious. If you watch this channel, you probably know about them. But go out, explore the city, spend your dollars here. That goes back into our city, making it a better place to live for everybody. So I completely agree with that. And that needs to continue as we go through. And if you're here working from home or you're here during lunch hour, make sure you visit those restaurants during lunch hour, because that's one of the times, from talking to restaurant owners throughout the city, is a big struggle for them, because a lot of people commute out of the city to go to work, and there's not a big lunch rush like they get in some cities. So if you're here during lunch, take the time, go check out a new restaurant. They will definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's funny that you said that. It's a shameless plug, but Evan's Barbecue. I was just talking to him. He's back from Africa. He has a great story to tell. But he has the best brisket.
Yes.
I mean, please stop. I've been to Texas, everywhere. He has literally. I go, you should have like an hour-long wait just to get your brisket. It's delicious. So
I'm excited to see what they're doing on Main Street with his place and getting buildings up on there. So Evan and I went to school together. So he's local here. He went to Esperanza. So local kid. Great barbecue, so definitely a good place to check out if you want some barbecue on there.
He's great. He's contributed back to our community in so many different ways, and partnering with the Station Donuts, and you know, who else did I just talk to recently? Joe from Lone Wolf. Just great community partners. I mean, they put their heart and soul in what they do. It's almost like an art. Right, just like Station Donuts. Like she makes her donuts like a piece of art almost. But it's almost like an art that they're trying to share to you, the culinary art. And I think it's just a beautiful reflection of who we are in Yorba Linda, and especially when we support them.
They support our city, we support them. It makes everything better.
So.
Okay, and then some other events that might be popping up over the next couple months. Is there anything that you want the community to know about that might be important?
Yes, there's several, and we could be here for an hour, right? I was telling you, like, we could be an hour. Like, what do you want me to do? So we have our fire safety preparedness seminar that's coming up. I think it's September 17th here at the library, 6 to 8 p.m. It's so important to get that word out there, because as we've seen the LA fire, the Altadena fire, which one of my cousins lost their house there in Pasadena, North Pasadena. And it's so important to get out there, because especially our seniors, they don't know what the evacuation sounds like. So I always do this, and I always embarrass myself. I'm not a singer, but so we have that high-low emergency, right? So you'll see the police car. When it's time to evacuate, you'll hear the police car. They don't necessarily have to go door to door, but they go around and they do that siren, that high-low, like sound, and that's the sound that you want to know. It's like, oh, we have to evacuate now, and that's really important that people know that, because like Altadena, they didn't know. They didn't know what the evacuation sound or what to do. So we here in Yorba Linda pride ourselves on emergency evacuation. And since the 2008 fire, the 2020 fire, we have so much technology that's out. I mean, even just like 2 weeks ago, there was that fire, Prado Dam, right? And we got that at, I think, about 100 acres, right? But it never touched a home. And that's something that we pride ourselves in, because we have so much technology. We have these heli hydrants. So, you know, Young Kim, our congresswoman, got us the first one, which is in Hidden Hills. And then, because during the 2008 fire, that was, you know, that devastated our community. And then 2020 did too. We lost one home, but because we had that heli hydrant, it really not solved it, but it really made the fires, you know, extinguish a lot faster than it would have not if we not had it. So we had the second one at Bryant Ranch, thanks to Wells Fargo. And then now we're having a third one here, just right up the hill here, Deemer Plant. That's 3 heli hydrants that we have here in Yorba Linda alone. I mean, many cities are just like envious of us
trying to
for
get
having
one,
that.
and they don't have any now.
And plus, we have AI technology. So AI technologies are in the hills in Chino Hills, which could detect fire, heat, and smoke. So it detects it a lot faster than not having anyone out there. So
So someone's always watching, basically, that way.
Always. We have probably the best. His name is Chris Pena. He is probably the best. He's an expert. He lives in the canyons area, so he's very sensitive to fires.
I'm sure, yeah.
But he is like, I would say this, and don't tell him this, guys, but he is like the ultimate Boy Scout, right?
Yep.
He has like a monitor with him at all times, 24/7.
Yeah.
If you see his computer screen at work, he had like different like spots where he's like always monitoring. Always monitoring. And he's going to be leading this next town hall meeting that's going to come up in September. So I encourage all residents to come out and to learn more about how to harden your homes, how to be prepared, what apps to use. I use Watch Jury.
Okay.
And that's just a great app to have because it'll tell you, even neighboring cities, which cities are having a fire, which areas is having a fire, and then also OC Alert is also another app that we encourage everyone to download, and that's connected to our Orange County, our county dispatch.
Got it. So just one more step to have that alert ahead of time, as much time as you can have, especially it being close to the hills, which is beautiful, but there is also risk involved with that. So we need to make sure that, especially if you live next to hills, this meeting you definitely want to make sure you go to, know your evacuation route, know what to look for, know what the process is, so that way if something does happen, you're not panicking, you have an understanding of what needs to be done.
Right.
So,
know your way.
Yep.
That's
there you go.
Know your way.
Know your way. Yep.
So I think and Chris was the one who initiated that, and he split up Yorba Linda in 8 different zones because there are areas in Yorba Linda, not just Bryant Ranch, that's one way in, one way out.
Yep.
So there's areas where we have to strategically plan to, if there's an evacuation, how we're going to do it. And we're going to do it a lot better than we did it in 2020, definitely a lot better than 2008.
Yeah.
We're much prepared. Our water district is on high alert with us. They have brought up the backup generators, so that way we'll always have water pumped. Plus, if there's high winds, Water District is going to already pre-fill our heli hydrants as well as our other hydrants. So we are going to be ready and prepared, and we've always have been. So this is something that we want to make sure that our residents know, to come to know about. Also, if your insurance is raised like mine. I think mine was raised 400%. It was ridiculous how much insurance we're paying right now. And we're just thankful that it's not dropped, right? So Ricardo Lara's office and I went up there in Sacramento probably about a little bit less than a year ago, and I talked to them, and they said that there's ways to making sure that we have good insurance, which is, well, there's a California Fair plan, but that's the fail-safe plan, right? Because you have to get that plus supplemental, insurance, which is extremely expensive. I think my neighbor told me he's spending like $24,000 a year on this, and it's really expensive. But if it ever gets dropped, they said that to give them a call, and they will do what they can to help to get their insurance back. Plus, on top of that, Yorba Linda has taken the extra step, because we're very close. We work closely with our water district, our fire authority, and of course our city. And we've written a letter telling your insurance company or whoever you want to give it to that we have all these safety measures that no other city has. We have 3 heli hydrants. We have AI technology back there. We have Know Your Way. We have evacuation plan. We also have a big fuel mitigation program here. So what we're doing right now, I think our fire authority right now is going to house, making sure that you're at code, meaning that you can't have brush, closer to a building for 30 feet, 50 feet, depending on what severity zone that you live in. So those are the type of things that are really,
I know that's on the forefront of a lot of people's minds right now. So I mean, as a real estate agent, that's probably the number one issue that buyers are facing now, is when you go to purchase a home, you don't know if you can actually afford it until you talk to your insurance company to see how much it's going to be, especially around some of these hill areas. I've seen it, and I know Yorba Linda is doing as much as they can to try to mitigate that and get insurance companies to lower those as much as possible. And hopefully with some of the new insurance laws that have come out recently as well, it'll bring more people back into the state and hopefully start reducing rates as well. So I'm definitely hopeful for that as well. And
don't forget to download that letter. If you're looking, if there you're looking to get insurance, download that letter and then show the insurance companies, that Yorba Linda is prepared.
Yeah, everything you can to try to get those rates down.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
And that's on the city's website, correct?
Right. And then also, just to let you know too, there's 120 odd insurance companies here in the United States. You don't have to do California. You could go out of the state to get your insurance. Of those 120, every 6 months, you could actually change your insurance company. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, like, okay, I'm stuck with something that is very expensive. Well, you could go on that list and just keep going down that list. And they change the recommendation over time. So, so I encourage everyone to do that. And that too is also online too.
Yeah, always shop around, because there's definitely, especially now, rates change very often. It's good to make sure you're having the best rate as well as the most coverage you need in those type of situations.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. And then I think the last thing we have coming up that I know I wanted to make sure we cover is the State of the City. So that's the annual event. So you're going to be speaking at that.
Yes.
So if people aren't aware of that, can you kind of give a little bit of update of what that is and how they can view it either at home or come to the actual event itself?
Yeah, exactly. And before I talk about that,
because
I also wanted to make a pitch out, and I know it's a shameless pitch, but back in the day, in the 1980s, we had this wonderful man, his name is Terry Lee Fitcher, who dedicated his life to public service. And he was Brea Police Department at that time, which Yorba Linda contracted Brea Police Department out, and he actually died in the line of duty.
Oh, okay.
So in knowing that, his best friend, Doug Dickerson, who's a staple here in Yorba Linda, he came to me about 2 years ago and he asked, Janice, what could we do for this man and his family to memorialize his name? And I said, well, we can name the 91 freeway after him. How about that?
Yeah.
So I went working. Our Assemblyman Philip Chen, who's been instrumental, stepped all the way from day one to its grand opening. Now we're going to have a ceremony for its unveiling of the sign. So we're memorializing the 91 freeway, the part that hits Yorba Linda, to the Terry Lee Fitcher Freeway Memorial.
Oh, that's
sign.
beautiful.
Yeah. So that's going to happen September 23rd at 9:30 at our own Hurlis Barton Park. We did invite Brea PD as well as the Brea Mayor to come out to speak, but it's also just to let them know that no matter where you serve, whether in what city you serve for, we want to let you know that we in Yorba Linda, we support all our servicemen and women. And that's just a tribute to them. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah,
it was. You would think it's easy to do.
I don't know. I'm sure it's a lot.
It was really difficult.
2 years
to do.
in the making.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So Assemblyman Philip Chen was instrumental in that. So. But that's what I want to talk about. Before I talk about the great state of the city, I don't know if you guys know about this, but every year, and I think Yorba Linda does the best at it. We will give you an update from what we talked about, our Bassentara Expansion Road to, our heli hydrants. We will give you an update of everything that happened in 2025.
Okay.
And it's amazing what we've accomplished then. And so it just gives us an opportunity, to talk about it and to showcase everything and just to highlight the people that are involved. I mean, I don't know if people know this or not, but we have commissions here in Yorba Linda. We have Parks and Recreation, we have, our Library Commission, we have, Traffic, and then we have our Planning Commission. And these commissioners, they work really hard. They're an extension of who we are as city council members. We can't be everywhere. We can't answer to every question. But these commissioners are amazing. So this is much about them as it is about the city, because this is all volunteer. And by the way, council members, it's basically a volunteer position.
A lot of people don't know that.
A lot of people don't know that. They're like, I go, well, it's really,
you're juggling, you're doing the volunteer work and juggling everything else at the same time too. So
it's how the love of the city.
Okay.
The love of the city.
Perfect. Well, this is basically a sneak preview, I'm guessing, of what you're going to be talking about there then. open. So going
Yes.
into more details about different things happening in Yorba Linda.
Yes.
So if they can attend it in person, tickets are available. Are they available now for that already?
Yes, they are available
Okay.
now. So you just go see the city of Yorba Linda, you'll find it.
Okay.
But then also there's a live stream
Okay.
because it's an actual meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's
Okay.
a live stream that if you can't attend the dinner, and it's a fabulous dinner. It's going to be at our Nixon Library.
Okay.
So they always have good
Yeah.
food there.
Yep. Okay.
And it's going to be a fantastic time to showcase what we've done over the year. Also to celebrate people and thank them for everything that they've done. A lot of times, especially staff members, you'll see them in after hours. You don't really need to be there,
Yeah.
but they do a lot of things after hours because they love our city. And that was the other thing I wanted to talk
Yep.
about was our staff members in
Okay.
Yorba Linda. If you could tell, everyone here is happy
Yeah.
to be working in the city of Yorba Linda. We treat each other like family. And they're precious to me. Every single one of them is precious to me. And I applaud them when they have all their successes, and I'm there with them if they need help.
Yeah.
So I think that's something else I
Yep.
would like to talk about.
Yeah.
Is our staffing here in Yorba
Absolutely.
Linda.
Yeah, and I've talked to some of them as well, and they all have the same thing to say, is they love working in the city. Some of them have worked at other cities before, come here,
Yeah.
love this community, love this city. So
Right.
it's definitely a unique place, and why a lot of people love moving here and living here and stay here is because all those things that we've mentioned before as well.
And Josh, you have to admit this. Don't we have the friendliest people here in Yorba
do.
Linda? We have some. I'm at Costco and I'm filling
Yeah.
up my trunk of my car, and I would have people come up to me and say, "Hey, do you
Yep.
need help with that?" And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and
it's
that's
just
one of the things,
amazing.
yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that I always love seeing, what this channel is about. I'm sure as you try to talk to different people around the city as well, as we're trying to really get that community involvement. So we want to make sure that people are involved in the community. Sometimes they take a back seat. The city's going to do what the city's going to do, and they don't really try to get involved. But just like anything with any politics in general, we need people involved. The more you're involved, the more the city is shaped how you want it to be.
Yeah.
And so we need to make sure that
Exactly.
people stay updated on what's happening in the city, voice their opinions when they have it, and then also make sure there's helping each other out. So like you were saying,
Yeah.
with the fires, making sure if there's an elderly neighbor, making
Yeah.
sure that you know that they're elderly, that you might need to help them out
Yeah.
if they have to evacuate quickly, and just be kind to one another and make sure
Yeah.
that we're making the city a better place to be. So
Well, you hit exactly my message.
Yep.
So every time I speak to either as a Boy Scout, Girl Scout, or any community, anytime I'm out in the community,
Yeah.
whether it's a church or a place of worship, I always talk about how to be more neighborly.
yep.
Right, I
Yeah.
think that's a key in terms of making your community build a strong community where you feel like you belong,
Yeah.
you know. And being neighborly doesn't take much. It could be holding the door for someone. It
Yeah.
could be just saying hi to someone on the street. I think
Yeah.
what we're seeing right now, especially with divisiveness in politics, is that people are not engaging like I'm sorry, but normally. I just, right? I mean, they think that yelling at someone's actually going to move the needle, but it doesn't. You know what? Being kind, listening to what other people have to say, and just being truthful about your intention, and being very intentional about things. I think that's the most important thing, and I think that's what we need to see more of. And I think Yorba Linda is a shining example of that. Just being neighborly, just being courteous and kind, and just being able to listen to them. And you may not agree with them, but you can at least understand their perspective and try to understand where they're coming from.
Exactly.
So and if it's more information they need, well, you got me. I'm here. I'm here to
Talk for hours about anything they
yes,
want to talk about.
Yes, yeah, you know me. Yeah, nothing else to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, well, perfect. Well, I appreciate you taking the time
thank
today
you
to
so
stop
much.
by, giving the city kind of an update on what's been going on, a little bit of background around yourself as well, and some things to look forward to over the next couple months. So if you aren't coming already, or you aren't planning on checking out that State of the City, I highly recommend doing it. When I talk about being engaged, that's an easy way just to get a better understanding of what's going on, so you know what's happening in the city, and making sure that you can also contribute any way that you can. So whether that's volunteering through the Love Yorba Linda that we have going on every year,
Yes.
which is a great event that I try to do every year with my family, or just making sure you stay involved with what's happening in the city. One last thing that I did want to bring up, and I know it's a hot topic because I see it on Facebook, I see it on all the different conversations going on before we end this, is e-bikes.
Okay.
So can you kind of give us an update on e-bikes and anything that's been going on to try to help that? Because I know this is not unique to Yorba Linda. This is happening throughout all of Orange County, throughout the United States as well. Because these have taken off, a lot of kids have them, and it's causing a lot of issues around cities and causing a lot of injuries as well. So can you give us kind of an update on what the city's been doing behind the scenes and maybe that residents aren't aware of to try to help curb these issues and problems?
Right, so it's a behavioral issue, right? It has nothing to do with ordinance. Ordinance helps to curb some of the bad behavior out there, but it's basically the teens are younger.
Yeah.
You could tell me 100 stories because everyone has a story about. I was riding down a hill and I saw these two young kids doing donuts around a bend. And I'm never a person to stop people, and I'm not the person that would take that picture of these kids. But I had to at least tell them and warn them, like, those cars aren't going to be able to see you when you're going against traffic because it's coming around the curve. And as I did that, they took off to the to the railroad tracks.
Oh, okay.
Which is exactly the last thing I want them to do.
Yep.
Because if they're going to evade me, who's just trying to be helpful, they're going to evade the police too.
Yeah.
And they're babies. I'm telling you, they're babies. They're probably like 8, and his brother probably is behind him 6.
Wow.
And
okay.
I'm not lying. I took the picture just to show our detective that, these are babies. These are your babies. And parents need to realize this, that they are putting their kids in great danger by putting them on these e-bikes and not really knowing what they're doing on these e-bikes. Because they're doing wheelies, they're doing, even in the dark. I remember I was driving home one day and I heard this whizzing noise beside me. I'm like, what is that noise? And I looked, it was a young man doing a wheelie in the dark, not realizing when your lights are faced up, I can't see you. Yeah, thank God I heard him, and thank God I didn't need to go into my left lane, but that could have been easily a bad outcome. And on top of that, who wants to be involved in that? Right? I would never want to hit your kid, or even if it's their fault, I don't care whose fault it is. I would never want to be in that situation where I have to deal with that, because I don't think, honestly, if I hurt someone's kid, I don't think I'd get out of bed. I'd be just so devastated at that point. And so that's something that our residents needs to really wake up and get engaged on. So what we did was we looked at all these ordinances that are neighboring cities. By the way, 41% of accidents that happen in California is in Orange County.
Wow.
So that can give you an idea that we have a lot of e-bikes out there, right? Not necessarily in Yorba Linda, because I don't think it's gone to that point, but we do see a lot of accident things happening. But what I was going to say is what's really different about our ordinance, and we checked it off with all the 34 different cities in Orange County. Huntington Beach, Costa Mesa, I looked at all of them. I looked at every single e-bike ordinance that's out there, even Chino Hills, because they have the hills like we do. And we matched them point by point. And so the difference between Yorba Linda is that we have this caveat, and this is a brilliant thing that our city attorney put up, was that if on the third count, so it's $250, $500, and $1,000 fine if you get caught riding your e-bike recklessly. Basically, that's what we're trying to get, is the behavior, right? We're not trying to get at, what age and stuff like that. What we're really getting at is the behavior. But the third part is if you get caught the third time, it's not only a $1,000 fine, but it's a misdemeanor. And that is something that we're hoping that would have enough teeth to get the parents to realize that if they go apply for a job, they're going to have to put down, have you ever had a misdemeanor? And you're going to have to put yes. If you're ever going to run for an office,
Yep.
You're going to have to put down, have you ever been in a misdemeanor?
Yeah.
And you're going to have to put yes. If you apply for, I don't know, with a driver license, I think they're asking for it too. Whatever you're going to do, that's going to follow you. And I'm hoping that that will get parents to realize that what they're doing is reckless, what they're doing is out of control, and what they're doing is putting not just their kids in danger, but the public in danger too.
Yep.
So that hopefully is the straw that's going to help hopefully make them change their mind about giving these kids e-bikes.
Yep.
I went down to our local e-bike shop and I said, what is going on with all these e-bikes and young kids? And he said, well, basically, he's not selling them to the kids. These kids are getting them on the internet.
Oh,
so a lot of times people are saying, well, you should put down this and that and making sure they do this before they get their e-bike. You know, we already got circumvented already a long time ago.
Yeah.
And they're just, the parents are getting them through the internet.
Somewhere,
Yeah,
okay,
somewhere
directly
else,
delivered.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Online. So
Yep.
yeah, and then they're also talking about making sure that at schools that they give these classes and things like that. Well, the problem with that is that the kids don't ride these e-bikes to school.
Yep.
They usually ride them after school.
Yeah.
So so there's always something there. But I'm hoping that with the caveat of that misdemeanor in there, that people will realize that, to making sure that your child or an adult rides your e-bike respectfully. And I think right now what they're talking about is bringing back an ordinance back on the table because we just passed it with all these 16 different markers, right?
Okay.
And
Yep.
basically it's, don't ride your e-bike recklessly,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
In areas where you shouldn't be riding, which is almost everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Okay.
So hopefully that will help. But
Okay.
so they're thinking about bringing it back to talk about the trails. So
okay.
our trail, there's no such thing as an equestrian-only trail. All our trails are multi-use trails, paved or unpaved, right? Earth or paved. And so what they're thinking about doing is to take out e-bikes. But the problem with that is we have a lot of people that use e-bikes responsibly that needs to get through A to B, right?
Yeah, and it might be safer to go that direction versus
Yes.
having to go through the streets and everything else.
Exactly,
So.
and a good example is the El Cajon Trail, right? Because that one that goes pretty much parallel to the Imperial Highway, safely without being on the street. And that's also part of OC Loop. It's a 66-mile program that goes around Orange County that connects us all. So 5.5 miles of that is the El Cajon Trail, and that is that's part of the OC Loop. So you can't really designate no e-bikes on there
Just
because
that one section,
because then it gets really confusing, right? Like I was saying on the dais, I'm like, well, it gets really confusing. Like, is there a white picket fence? Is there not? Is it dirt? So if you're on a horse or if you're a equestrian rider, if it becomes pavement, do I get off of it? Or, do you know what I mean? So it gets really, really wonky. So I think, I'm hoping that we leave our ordinance the way it is right now, and that the 16 markers that we have there, ordinances, that we're able to make sure that we kind of cover everything. Exactly. Especially that misdemeanor. Boy, if people knew that, they would know. It's a problem.
And ultimately, like you said at the beginning, it's going to come down to the parents and making sure that the parents are educated, the kids are educated. There's consequences if they're caught, but ultimately, it's something that the parents have to make sure they're having those conversations with. I know that there's multiple e-bike presentations that have happened at the library to try to get people aware of what's going on.
You're right.
So they have those going on to continuously where the parents can come, the kids can come, get educated on what is legal, what is illegal to do, so everybody understands the rules. And hopefully we can avoid having these major accidents that are happening with these e-bikes, because when I've talked to friends that are nurses or doctors, that's one of the biggest things they're saying right now is they're seeing all these e-bikes come in with some really gruesome injuries because of how fast they can go, and the kids are just not used to riding something that quick and are just not equipped to be able to do it correctly.
Yeah.
Especially when they're doing wheelies and donuts and things like that. So.
Well, they don't know the rules of the road
Exactly.
yet. Yeah.
Yep.
So Washington and Oregon State, although I don't agree with them on many things, this I do agree on.
Okay.
Well, so they're banning e-bikes for 16 and under.
Oh, okay.
Period.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the direction we should be going. I know Diane Dixon, our assemblywoman from South County, she's putting something together, a bipartisan piece of a legislative piece, and she's making sure that e-bikes is being handled well, and that California is looking at it in a different way, because it just hasn't caught up yet. So instead of us taking away the trails from bikers and e-bikers, I think the best thing to do is just to wait and see if our ordinance works, to the best of our ability. I mean, Deanne Wington, who's our police captain, I mean, she is amazing. She's on top of it.
They are.
She's worked hard on it. I think it's about 2 years. I mean, you've been to some of the town hall meetings, right? I've been to every single one of them. It started out 40 of concerned citizens, which was great, and then it dwindled down. The last one was 4, and I think that was including me in there too, as well. So Deanne's been doing such a great job. But so we're hoping that the California legislators would pick up on this, and that we can move that needle in making sure that our youth is. If I could protect every single baby, I mean, if I could just put a bubble around them and they could have all the fun they want, I would do that. But unfortunately, I don't live in that world. I live in a world where we have to share our roads, our sidewalks, our trails, with everyone. So that's something that we're gonna probably have to. You'll see more of in the near future, and especially we just had that accident in Huntington Beach where that young man fatality, and it was his friend, I believe, that hit him, which was really tragic. We definitely don't want that in our.
And those stories are unfortunately becoming more and more common with the popularity. Okay, well, I think that covers everything that I hear from residents around here, and I think we covered a good amount of stuff today as well.
Yeah,
so
I told you, Josh, I could talk for hours on end.
Absolutely. So hopefully a lot of people got some good information from this, have a better understanding of what's going on in the city. So thank you again for joining me today. And everybody at home, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye, everyone.